Hi Aries, welcome to your April 2024 eclipse reading. I wanted to do this as close to the eclipse as possible, and today in New York we had not one, but 2 earthquakes. Okay, so I think we're about where we want to be timing-wise. Now this is a reading that you can take solely focused on April, or you can see it as a changeover from what used to be to what comes next. This eclipse has a very definitive cutting of the strings energy. So first up we have the 9 of Swords, followed by the 8 of Swords. So a lessening of the pain. And then the 3 of Cups, the celebration. I'm so sorry. The sudden celebration of feeling no pain. Sorry about that. So, what happens when you go from living with, embodying, holding pain, other people's pain especially, holding the pain they cause you because you feel that Aries compassion, you feel you're strong enough to carry it, and perhaps they're too weak to stop themselves. So you carry and carry and carry. Excuse me. Until the 9 of Swords feels like you're full up. You really can't take anymore. You can't hold anymore. And the way you start to slowly relieve that burden is by having what you think is pretty loving communication. You are trying in the kindest way possible to explain to the people around you that you have at times been very close to, self-destructive and addictive behavior because of how much you've had to carry. You are aware, before the eclipse, of how your past and the amount you've been asked to bear has affected you. How it has made you kind of split yourself. I mean, you still have to find some joy. You still have to find some happiness in life, right? But it's always been a running away from something. Sure, running towards joy, running towards that vitality that makes you who you are. Excuse me. Of course that. But what was more compelling than reaching some state of happiness was to run far from what felt like it couldn't be carried anymore. And perhaps you have created this cycle many times in your life where you have tried to come back and explain it in a loving way. Maybe they'll listen to me this time. Maybe this time my words, my feelings, they will mean something. And unlike this pattern that has been around for so long, this time they will. Because this time, the reset is complete. For some of you, whatever was going on in 2017, it completes itself as a cycle. If you started taking enormous amounts of shit from the people around you, especially those who think of themselves as authority figures, perhaps that was the year. Perhaps that was the year you saw clearly through your parents. Perhaps that was the year that you felt the tyranny, excuse me, of your college situation or your education. Perhaps that was the year where you committed yourself to something professionally, relationship-wise, friendship-wise, that became this toxic, never-ending cycle of you bearing as much as you can and then finding whatever joy wherever you could. But always feeling like it's 10 steps back and 20, 10 steps forward and 20 steps back. These false moments of advancement that are then rounded off by this indulgent, self-destructive behavior under the guise of celebration, and then brings you back around to feeling guilty enough to carry the burden again. For a lot of you, this is familial. Even if you've been out of the house for a long time. Even if you're the head of the house. You have been bearing something very heavy. And you have tried to find your happiness where you could. This cycle is now broken. And it's not just about things making more sense. Things make sense to you. You haven't been lost in a dream somewhere. You've actually been painfully awake. It's that now real progress can be made because it's your own weight that you begin to carry. The weight of your own decisions, your likes and dislikes, the parts of you that had to be hidden, the parts of you that could not be acknowledged because there was too much martyr work to do, imposed on you, not that you asked for it. That there is no real way to find an identity in that. You're a tool. And the parts of you that make you unique are hidden away. And the parts of you that would bloom if provided with love, they're kept far from you. Because control doesn't work if you open up and you allow others to love you and you begin to believe that the universe is working for you. The Lovers, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Moon also points to very good odds at feeling comfortable with people again. Not just romantically. Just feeling like you have a place again. And this is not to, harp on it too much. This is because your energy now is your own and not a burden you carry for the people around you. And it's quite powerful. It is a true, perhaps not full, but a true expression of who you are. So don't regret it. One of the most demanding aspects of a reset is how good it feels and how that is immediately followed by regret, by shame. Gosh, why didn't I do this sooner? Why didn't I understand this sooner? Why wasn't I smart enough to see this? Why couldn't I have figured this out? Why did I do what I did for so long? Because you're a good person. because you're a good person and that goodness made it easy to misguide you. And although the people you carried these burdens, these pains, these wounds for may think they got something over on you, they didn't. Because actually, they provided you with the perfect education. For what? What happens when we reparent ourselves and we're able to heal our emotional wounds? I mean, Venus is conjunct with the North Node and Chiron right now. What happens when we decide that it's okay not to be at the very top of the mountain? We'll start from the bottom again, as long as we get to do it our own way, and as long as whatever we're carrying on our back happens to belong to us. What happens when you're no longer needed to carry that burden, or you can't? For some of you, you got lucky. Someone said, hey, you know what? We don't want you as a part of this family anymore. But for some of you, you've had to be the one to say, man, you guys have been using me for a long time. I've been a punching bag for a very long time. And it's funny because I could take all of you. I wouldn't have to say like 3 sentences and this would all be over. And yet you have taken advantage of my enormous strength, knowing that because of how powerful I am, alhamdulillah, I won't use it. You've taken advantage of me never wanting to punch down on you. But now, Aries says, now I see how I can never really be who I'm supposed to be like this. You've convinced me all this time that that's who I was. Even though the people that love me, parts of myself, the people I trust have told me again and again, this fucks you up. This is not who you are. You shouldn't allow this. But I guess you never realized how that would directly steal your identity from you. How are you supposed to react to things genuinely and sincerely if you're stuck in a cycle that somebody else, a group of people, one person, an idea, a culture is keeping you stuck in? For some of you, this is a choice you made, and so it's even more regrettable. I did this to myself, Umber. Don't tell me nothing. I did this. I deserve to have this happen to me because everybody told me not to do it, but I did it. Just because you make a mistake, Aries, does not mean that punishment and blame and shame is endless. It's time to take the way things used to be, including your part in it, and let it go. There's no way to keep being resentful of the people who put you in this position. There's no way to let go and move forward and still resent these people. Don't let them go because they deserve it. Don't let it go because it'll make them happy. Let it go because it doesn't exist anymore. Don't let it go as in you erase it from your mind and they come back around and do the same thing to you in a few days. No, let them go. Let that part of you that feels so deeply indebted that it would be okay to tolerate this kind of pain, this kind of abuse. Let it go. Your astrology is very clear. And we'll talk about it in depth in the extended. But I think there are so many people around you right now. Boy, you being yourself, or even beginning to figure out who that might be, well, it just scares the life out of them. And it gets me to thinking, how much do these people really have you bearing for them? Why do you become the suppository of everyone's unprocessed emotions, everyone's pain? Why are you the target? Is it strength? Is that what they see? A wall that can't be knocked down? And how incredibly dangerous is it to be around people who don't believe in your fragility, who can't see it? I mean, you'd really have to keep your eyes and your ears closed around an Aries to not understand that they're deeply fragile. I mean that in the most beautiful way possible. You are so open from your heart. You are so open that it does create enormous vulnerability, fragility. And how often has that fragility been shattered and destroyed? How often have you been shamed for that open heart and that clear conscience? How often have the people around you asked you to compromise who you are and what you believe and who you know, or what you know is at your core? How often have you been asked to compromise that to please the whims of others? To co-sign their sins? Of course, it can feel like everything's falling apart. At the time of the eclipse, something from the past comes around and it wants to be clarified. Hey, there is this thing in my mind, and I know it's from a long time ago, but I need to know what happened with that. This is especially true if you are already involved in a troubled relationship. Now, what's a troubled relationship to an Aries? A relationship where nobody's talking. Not a relationship where there's a bunch of fighting going on, a relationship where there's no communication happening at all. A relationship where the heart center is closed. And once the part of you that you draw power from is closed, well, you're no longer just extremely fragile. You make yourself a sitting duck. You make yourself a very desirable target. And when you're made to carry these burdens, you actually become a sitting duck for all sorts of bullies, all sorts of manipulators. This can be friends in school who pretend to love you but are mean girls and absolutely awful behind your back. This can be in a relationship where you find yourself uncomfortably starting to fall into the same patterns that you have with the family unit, with that previous relationship, with whomever and whatever basically indoctrinated you into this idea of of this being love. This is how you are expected to express your love. Completely selfless, and then once in a while go blow off some steam. Totally understand. There is clarity, but from the 1st to the 25th is a retrograde. There is clarity after the eclipse, as long as you're as open and honest as you can be with yourself now. And for most people, that would mean taking accountability for what they've done, thinking it through, and blaming themselves where they should. For you, it's the opposite. For you, I think the toughest part of the eclipse is coming out of this and knowing that you deserve everything good. You deserve to be loved. You deserve to be independent. You deserve to have room emotionally to think about your own shit instead of always having to carry other people. You deserve to be free. And there is an opportunity here for you to truly be free. Now, you may want to take all these feelings and direct them at somebody because it just feels so damn good that you think it must be somehow related to sexual chemistry. No, it's not. And just be careful of unexpected love stories that move very rapidly. Just be careful. Be as deep as you can get with how it used to be. Because the reset isn't really asking your permission. You know you've already turned a corner. You know that you're saying things you would never say. You know that you're behaving in ways that you would never normally behave. You may be starting to wonder what's wrong with me. Why can't I shut the fuck up? Well, it's because your eyes are open. And to me, this reading looks like someone who is going to slowly stand up and let this shawl around his shoulders drop so everyone can see that he's got full armor on underneath and is at any time ready for war. Whatever made you lose that fiery embodiment, whatever made you feel bad enough and hurt you enough to make you think that maybe it is your job. Maybe that is your purpose. You get to wash all of that out of your head because your life, your choices, your work will now begin to take you in directions where you hold power. And there may not be many cures for heartbreak. There may not be many cures for the pain that our loved ones can cause us, the sustained pain. But if there is anything that comes close, it's power. The power to come and go as you please, the power to do as you please. Get focused on that. And don't get sucked into any emotional traps, by people who take on this energy for you in your life, but also you'll start to realize there are other people in your life that you've never peeped, and they have the same energy. And they may use you in the same way. So become even more discerning, please and thank you. Okay, in the extended, we're going to do all the dates, the planets, the transits, all the tings, yeah? A few words on the eclipse. I said this in the Instagram live. As soon as I'm able to download it, I will post it. The best thing that you can do for yourself is a deep spring cleaning. Replace all the items in your bathroom that are running out. Go through all your storage and make sure that the things you want to keep are actually things you want to keep. Mop, sweep, dust, scrub. Do the things you need to do so you wake up on the morning of the eclipse and you look around your house and you look at yourself your hair is washed, your nails are presentable, your house is pristine. These are the simple, everyday tools that can help you build a better sense of self, a stronger sense of self, one that accurately portrays itself in times of danger. Yeah. And remember, the only thing scarier than the Emperor is the Emperor when he's mad. You never need to lose your temper again, Aries. You may, probably will, but you never really need to again. You can be as soft-spoken as you want, but the truth is still going to be the truth. You want to feed it to them with a little bit of sugar? That's okay. That's okay. I'll straighten these out for the extended. We'll do some more shuffling. And let's come back and talk dates and times. And remember, this is because of this cutting of the strings, this empty space that is created. It's beautiful. Okay. I love you, Aries. Happy birthday. And I'll see you in the extended. There's links. There's a Patreon link to see the extended. There's a Vimeo link. And there's a direct link that you can just get the video from, and it goes to your email. And there's also a link below for personal readings that look exactly like this. Okay, love you.